Item number E, number 8-18SB, this is the City of Norwalk Public Schools. This is for a new school, 60,000 square feet, Columbus Magnet School. And this would be located at 11 Ingalls. And we just want the initial presentation.
You want the short version or the long one? The long one is about 45 minutes.
The short version. Matter of fact, the short. Okay.
For the record, I'm Alan Lowe from, on behalf of the City of Norwalk. About 2.5 years ago, again, you probably heard this story before on the other project. The city and the Board of Education went through a whole facility studies and identified that the city has a shortage of elementary seats of 900 seats, which means that the city had to build 2 new elementary schools. We are about 106% over enrolled right now. So the 2 schools, one is Polnitz, which we brought to the commission probably a month or 2 months ago, and the other one is the construction of a new school at the Ely site, which is Springwood Ely Park. The new building is going to be, the new school is going to be the relocated Columbus School. So the existing Columbus School population will move into the new school, and this will be continue to be this new location will be a new magnet school, continue to what is existing Columbus School operating as. But the school will be from pre-K to 8 instead of just an elementary school from K to 6. Thank you. The enrollment is. Well, the building is going to be 65,000 square feet, and it's going to be 480 students, which means is that each grade has 2 sections. So there's 2 first graders, 2 second graders, two classes of second graders, and all. And the city funded about, I think it's $42 million for this project. Construction cost is going to be somewhere around, hard construction cost, probably somewhere around $35 million. So we are in the process of going through design. I have the architect here. And we can briefly go over, and Jim is going to go through the design a little bit for you so you can see what the building looks like and how it's situation on the property.
Great, thank you. My name is Jim Hoagland. I'm with JCJ Architecture. I'm a senior associate, and I'm the project architect on the job. Also, this evening with me is actually Brian Phillips, who's the project engineer, if you have any questions later, as well as Luke Morrow, who is the traffic engineer that we've been working with Langdon. Give you a quick 5-minute overview if you want to pull. The site that we're considering and have proposed the new school for is the site of the existing Ely School. And right now there's some park elements over there. You can see on this site plan there's some existing tennis courts, some existing basketball courts. The site is directly to the east of Rudner Court. It's a fairly active recreational zone. And there are some wetlands. We've already been in conversation with conservation. Go to the next one, please. Yeah. So the proposal that is in front of you puts a brand new school on the site of the existing Ely School. And we've pushed the building as far to the east on the site as possible to get it as far away from the Ely School, but taking some advantages of some of the existing elements that are underutilized on site. There is a softball field that really isn't used at all by the neighborhood or any other recreational activities. So essentially the building takes up a good portion of that existing softball field, but keeps all of the other recreational aspects intact. So the tennis courts, the basketball courts, the wetlands are all remaining intact. We've located the parking for the proposed school in between the Ely School and the new school with an opportunity to share parking between the 2 schools. Much different operational hours between the 2. If you go to the next blow up. As we get in a little closer to the building, you can begin to see some of the circulation loops. There's about 102 parking spaces on site. And we've completely separated the bus loop. We're going to be bringing 11 buses into the site. They'll be dropping right at the front door and then looping right back out. And then we have a dedicated parent loop you can see on the south side of that building. The parents will drop there, and that's actually the entry for the pre-K program as well. So
Now,
the-
Jay, you mentioned that you're going to demolish the school that's there now?
No, the existing, that building will remain. It's operated by a private daycare provider. That the hours are much different. But right now, the program that is in that building exists and will continue to.
Isn't there an issue for the city in eliminating park space?
There's a few things that we're doing. One of the things is that on Tito Court, which is on the north side of the property, the city actually went out and acquired 2 pieces of property. One is 4 Tito Court, and it's a friendly purchase. And 10 Tito Court, it's a eminent domain. We filed it. The city had put in the money in escrow already, and we're waiting for the courts to give us permission to acquire the property. It should be done beginning of next month. So it's within a month's time that the city should have control, ownership of the property. The other thing too, so we gain about 0.93 acres. The building that's being placed on the property with the parking lot, it's 4 point somewhat acres. So the net difference is we lose about 3.28 acres. The city had completed the appraisal of that 3.2 acres, and what we're looking to do is to replace that land with land behind Norwalk Community College. It used to be the old McGrath School. That property is about 10.04 acres. So we had looked at the appraised value of that 10-acre property, and it, generally speaking, it matched up with what we are losing on this property. There's many discussion on the city side about, replacement of land, where should we get the property, and there's continued discussion about how we can potentially in the future put money aside to get more property in South Norwalk. But South Norwalk is such an area that is very difficult to find replacement land. The other thing I want to note is that the existing building, we are not doing any changes to that building. Currently we're running the Head Start program. It's about 300 preschool kids in the program, so we're not touching that. In fact, some of these kids will actually go into the new elementary portion of the school. And one other thing I want to note is that there's a separate project going on, so in case you go out to, in a month later and you find that we have construction going on, it's actually we're adding two new tennis courts onto the property. So again, if you see some construction, it's not like we're moving ahead before the approval process. It's just that there's a separate parks project going on.
Alan, so you're adding 2 new tennis courts?
Yeah, there's 4 there now, and we're adding 2 more.
So what happens to the old courts? Are they being
Renovated?
Everything is being renovated?
Yeah.
And once they are renovated, how will they be kept? And the reason why I'm really asking you this question is because what I've noticed is throughout the city, you have tennis courts, many of them, but they're really not maintained very nicely. And, you're building new courts, and I'm just hoping that, what's the plan?
The plan here is that these courts are no longer going to be asphalt courts. All right? Typically, all our tennis courts, including the high school courts, are asphalt tennis courts. These are actually post-tensioning concrete tennis courts. It's meeting the USTA standards. We are paying somewhere around, for those 6 tennis courts, including the removal of the mound between the tennis court, we're paying $900,000 for these courts, and the 2 practice courts. So the cost of these courts is about, I think for 4 courts, it's about $400,000. It's twice the amount because it's concrete and it's post-tensioning. It's supposed to have a lot more durability than the standard asphalt court. The asphalt court, the problem is, the asphalt is really a subsurface condition because asphalt has a tendency to expand and contract much more. So that's when the crack comes in, and then if you don't maintain it properly, water gets in, it spoils and stuff, and next thing you try to overcoat it, overlay it and stuff. So there are many problems. And So the other thing too is this location. We are running a grassroots tennis program from there. It's a nonprofit program. The city is not running it, but we are working with them very close. It used to be a housing authority program, but at the same time, it's independent. But at the same time, it's a tennis plus after-school program. So there's more interest in it. And the cost that you kept them. highest, best condition is actually high school because of competition. The neighborhood courts gets less attention because it doesn't get the same level of use. These courts will be used by the after-school and tennis program as well. They're going to run competition on it. So I believe the recreation parks will be taking a better look at these courts than the standard courts.
Even the high school courts, I hear what you're saying, but I happen to play on those courts, and they're not in good condition. And that's why I'm pressing this, because it doesn't matter how much money you spend on the courts, it's how they're maintained after they have been built. And also, are you gonna have cameras or anything around there? How will that be? And the reason why I'm asking, again, is because it would be nice if those courts are not only built, maintained, but maybe, because sometimes I've seen tennis courts that are used for a lot of other things other than tennis, including at the schools. Are there any plans? I mean,
No, there's no
you
plans to
guys-
put cameras on these tennis courts.
Well, what's gonna cause them to remain nice then? I hear what you're saying, but it's something to think about, particularly since you're spending that kind of money on the courts. To spend that kind of money, you want them to be maintained nicely over the period of time. So I just think it's something that maybe you could consider.
Which
somewhere.
courts do you play in?
All of them.
Oh, all of them.
And they're all,
Because
I know.
if you say private
know.
man, it's actually I'm not in charge of recreation parks, but I understand that private man tennis court is being worked on right now.
Thank you. What about Norwalk High? Because
They worked on it last year.
Huh?
They worked on it last
Yeah,
year.
but they're cracked.
Yeah, they're
Cracked
recoded.
down. They're cracked.
No.
Again, even sometimes when you repair the ones at Matthew Park, if you don't do them properly, I took some of the peelings down to Ken Hughes' office of the money that they spent repairing those courts and finding them to be in disrepair in a short period of time. It's throwing good money after bad. So it's something that you need to think about. Okay? Okay.
Great. Okay. And I think one of the core values of the planning that went into the school was to try to take advantage of all these great assets that are in the park, the tennis courts. The tennis courts are not actually part of the school program, and some of the tennis courts that Alan's talking about are really completely separate project and moving forward right now. So I think the points made about maintenance not only apply to that, but will apply to the school in the long run, and kind of the delineation between responsibilities for caring for the school, where the delineation is between the park and the school, and how those positive assets can really be shared in the community. So, thank you. Okay. Just a quick description of the building itself. We've pushed the building, as I mentioned, as far to the east on the site as possible. It's actually closer to some of the bigger industrial buildings along Gray Rock Road. And we're taking advantage of some natural topography. There's about 15 feet of grade change from the existing softball field down to Gray Rock. So we're actually taking advantage of that and building the school into tiers. So the main level of the school, where the main entry comes in at grade, will accommodate all of the community uses. So as you come into that main lobby, the gymnasium, the cafeteria, the platform will all be accessible, and the rest of the school can actually be shut off and controlled. You can see the classroom wing that extends off to the left here houses the pre-K, the kindergarten, the first grade, and second grade. So all of the youngest students are grouped together at grade on that main level. The main level also accommodates music rooms, art rooms, and the service area coming into the kitchen that'll backfeed the cafeteria. The upper level will accommodate the upper grades. The 6th, 7th, and 8th graders all move to the upper level. And there's actually a science room upstairs that will be dedicated to the 8th grade science curriculum. And then the lower level is dedicated to the 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. So as Alan mentioned, there's a pair a pair of classrooms for each grade. And then there's a small kitchen classroom down in that lower level as well. So-
Okay, thank you. No, we don't, you're gonna have to come back for a public hearing.
Yep.
So we just wanted to kind of overview what's going
Okay,
on
all right.
for now. And just make sure you maintain those tennis courts in the main.
Okay.
I'll bring up tennis ball next time.
Okay. Okay.
So we're ready to move ahead to public hearing as long as you are. Let us know.
Staff,
Yeah,
any? Okay.
When?
20th, if we can.
Okay.
It's gonna be tight to get notices out, but you've got yours
It's all
ready.
printed up,
They're
ready
ready
to
to
go
go.
first thing tomorrow morning.
Oh, I guess the 20th.
20th? Goodness.
Okay.
Okay, not October 4th, you sure? 20?
You'll have all your sign-offs in?
Yeah. We got response from traffic and DPW. We went through.
WPCA.
You sure you don't want to move it to the October 4th?
For wetlands is the 11th. Oh, I does the 20th doesn't look so bad, agenda-wise, so.
Okay.
If they're ready to go, let's get them in and out.
Okay, all right.
Great.
Thank you,
Thank you very much.
Do we need a motion to do so, or just move it to?
Oh, we have.
Okay, we did, okay, all right.
So moved.
Okay, second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, all those opposed? Abstention? The ayes have it.